configurations will be discussed within the next segment of this program. This concludes the chapter on taxi procedures. Yukon 50 has landed at the remote village of Unalakleet on the far western shore of Alaska. The cargo being delivered is part of a thin lifeline to this village. During this brief stop, the crew will unload essential cargo and supplies. Yukon 50 will also take on, among other things, a load of Alaskan king crab that only an hour ago arrived on the dock at Unalakleet. Unalakleet is a non-towered airport and requires additional procedures within the pre-arrival and pre-departure briefings. Extra vigilance is the key to safe taxi operations at non-towered airports. Some of these airports have part-time towers. In these situations, an attempt should be made to contact the tower to verify whether or not it is in operation. The Automated Surface Observation System, or the Automated Weather Observing System, should be monitored for additional information prior to taxiing or landing at a non-towered airport. Many pre-departure and pre-arrival procedures at non-towered airports are similar to that of towered airports. During pre-arrival and pre-departure, discuss familiarity with the airport. Review NOTAMs. Use airport diagrams to plan the taxi route and identify hotspots. Enhance pilot situational awareness. Prior to entering or crossing any runway, both pilots scan the full length of the runway, including approach areas.
Clear on the left, clear on the right.
And use recommended exterior lighting to make the aircraft more conspicuous. In a non-towered environment, pilots should monitor appropriate approach control frequencies, listen for inbound IFR traffic, and become familiar with the local traffic pattern. There are many additional sources that can be utilized, such as FSS, CTAF, and Unicom. During taxi operations at a non-towered airport, all ground movement should be announced on CTAF or Unicom. Once a pilot has announced the intention to take off from a non-towered airport, it is important that the lineup and hold phase be as brief as possible. Pilots should also state the name of the airport at the beginning and end of each radio transmission. This concludes the section on taxi procedures at non-towered airports. United 852 has completed its 10-hour journey across the Pacific and is now on final approach to San Francisco International Airport. Navigating a busy airport is even more difficult when weather is not favorable. Taxiing at night or during adverse weather conditions such as rain, snow, or fog can make even simple taxi operations a challenge. Proper use of exterior aircraft lights make an aircraft more conspicuous and signal location and intent to other pilots. Various configurations can tell other pilots whether the aircraft is on a taxiway or on a runway. When on a runway, they can signal whether an aircraft is holding for takeoff clearance, crossing an active runway, or accelerating down the runway for takeoff. The configurations for exterior lights include engine running, taxiing, crossing a runway, entering a departure runway for takeoff, and takeoff. Let's look at these configurations in detail. Whenever the engines are running, it is important that the rotating beacon is illuminated. This beacon should be illuminated before engines are started. Prior to taxiing, the navigation lights should be illuminated. Before any aircraft movement, the taxi lights should be added to this configuration. When crossing any runway, all exterior lights should be illuminated. This includes the rotating beacon, navigation, strobe, taxi, and landing lights. When entering a departure runway, the rotating beacon, navigation, taxi, and strobe lights must be illuminated. Once a flight crew receives clearance for takeoff, the landing lights should be added to this configuration. During night operations, when taxiing into position on a runway, pilots should consider lining up about 1 meter off the center line to make it easier for other pilots to distinguish the aircraft lights from the in-pavement runway lights. Following these simple lighting procedures makes each aircraft more conspicuous, and pilots will have an easier time maintaining their situational awareness on the ground. This completes the chapter on exterior aircraft lighting configurations. November 384 Charlie Foxtrot has also arrived at San Francisco International Airport. The pilot must now navigate a myriad of signs and runway markings while taxiing to the hangar. Airport taxiways and runways are extremely complex and busy environments. At night or during low visibility conditions, the signs and markings can be even more confusing to the pilot who is unprepared. It is extremely important for pilots to be familiar with the layout, markings, and signs of each airport. Here is a brief look at the signs and markings flight crews may encounter. A taxiway location sign indicates an aircraft's current location. It is oftentimes co-located with direction signs or a runway holding position sign. Runway holding position signs are located where a taxiway intersects a runway. These signs typically have 2 numbers. In this example, runway 32 is to the left and runway 14 to the right. This sign is located next to the holding position marking painted on the taxiway. Runway approach holding position sign. This runway approach holding position sign requires pilots to hold here when the controller specifically states to hold short of a runway approach. Taxiing past this sign could result in a runway incursion when the designated runway is active. It is always located next to yellow holding position markings on the pavement. ILS critical area holding position sign. When the ILS critical area is being protected, the pilot should stop so no part of the aircraft extends beyond the holding position marking. When approaching the holding position marking, a pilot should not cross the marking without ATC clearance. Controllers will issue instructions to hold short of the ILS critical area when weather conditions require the area to be protected. ILS critical area boundary sign. This sign is located on the runway side of the ILS critical area holding position sign and is next to the ILS holding position markings. It is seen by pilots leaving ILS critical areas. A no entry sign indicates an area prohibited to aircraft. This sign is found at the entrance to a one-way taxiway or at the intersection of a road intended for vehicles. An inbound destination sign uses an arrow to indicate the direction of a specific destination. Outbound destination signs indicate a common taxi route to runways with an arrow pointing out the direction of the taxi route. A dot separates 2 destinations. In this example, runways 27 and 33 are to the right. A direction sign for runway exit is located on a runway just prior to a taxiway intersection. This sign appears on the same side of the runway as the exit. Runway location signs identify the runway on which an aircraft is currently located. Taxiway ending markers are located on the far side of an intersection and indicate that a taxiway does not continue. A runway boundary sign faces the runway and is visible to pilots exiting the runway. It is located next to the yellow holding position markings painted on the taxiway pavement. Taxiing past this marking indicates an aircraft is clear of a runway. Understanding the meaning of all airport signs and markings greatly reduces the potential for pilot deviation incursions. United Flight 852, Yukon 50, and November 384 Charlie Foxtrot have each arrived safely at their destinations without incident. Yet over 300 times a year, aircraft are involved in dangerous and sometimes deadly runway incursions. Through better communication, planning, and flight deck procedures developed by the FAA, the number of these dangerous incursions can be dramatically reduced.
Reducing risk on the runway is a shared responsibility. Through better crew resource management, communication, planning, and flight deck procedures, we can reduce the frequency of runway incursions at airports around the world. For more information, I encourage you to visit the FAA website at www.faa.gov/runway safety. You can also review the supplemental material found in the bonus section of this DVD. I wish you blue skies and safe landings.